What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is John Paul Investing. Today we were going to look at Bbig stock once again because this stock has been absolutely flying. In my previous video I did mention that I would not go chasing this stock. Now if you did decide to chase this stock, you made some money. Now it is time to reassess positions and figure out where is the next feasible price target, since these runs have again already been made. So simply put, it is time to use as much data as we have right now to figure out where exactly this thing could go, at least in the near term future. I personally think this stock has already used a lot of its steam to squeeze higher, but there is some conflicting data with my own beliefs here. If you guys are watching Jason Pullen Investing, which I'm sure a lot of you are because he was covering the stock before I got a chance to talk about it, short utilization out of the float is increasing, and it is quite substantial part of the amount of shares that are floating in circulation right now. And the reason that's important is because for every share that is short, it is ultimately a purchase later on down the road when that person who is shorting has to cover their position. On top of that, there is a lot of open interest out there for Bbig derivatives, or just a fancy word for options. These options contracts are IOUs, and the brokers have to have these shares available in the event that the person with the contracts wants to exercise. From a technical standpoint, Bbig is looking very good, but you still have to consider, again, all the potential risks with getting involved in this, so I just want to share some data points with you guys. I wanted to remind you guys that I have a free newsletter that anyone can sign up for. I will leave a link in the description. The whole point of this newsletter is to help you guys develop lower time preferences, so that way you guys value the longer term more, because a lot of investments are going to be a lot more fruitful if you are able to hold on to them for a long time. So go ahead and click on that link in the description. It is absolutely free and anyone can sign up for it. If you want to see a short squeeze that has the upside of, let's say, like GME or AMC or anything like that, you would have to let this stock accumulate short interest and days to cover, cost to borrow, and essentially all of these converging factors to accumulate over a longer period of time. I think that whenever these stocks shoot up like this, it pretty much like resets the clock. So if you guys want that short squeeze that's going to, really pop the top off, maybe past $20, $30, I think we got to see this thing chill out for just a little bit longer. We can't see, straight vertical move. It's already been a few days. It would be too easy to, just hand out money like that to everybody. Because remember, whenever you're selling your stock, someone else on the other side is having to buy it. Not everyone is going to be, willing to buy the stock at this price. So I just want you guys to remember that. So right now, Bbig stock is around $10.24 a share. And at this point, if we account for all stock splits in the past that may have happened, this is actually a new all-time high in this stock. So you could just consider everything between around $9 and $12 is going to be price discovery mode, because this is where investors are going to be trying to find the right price that they would like to, own this stock. Price discovery is just the process of determining the price of an asset in the marketplace through the interaction of buyers and sellers. So there's a point where there's not going to be enough buyers, and then there's going to be a point where there's not enough sellers at a certain price, and then eventually that comes to an equilibrium at a point where investors are comfortable paying. So price discovery is essentially going to affect this stock between $9 and $12, just because we have not ever seen this stock close above these prices for more than a couple days at a time. So ultimately, you can't ignore price action, because I still think price action is king when it comes to observing technical analysis, even though we do have a lot of things that would support a short squeeze happening. So I would say some very important levels that are marked. I have marked in white horizontal support and resistance lines. The first major support is going to be around $11.50, with the second major support being around $9.50, and the next support level that I was expecting it to trade in, at least within this range for at least a little bit longer, would have been around $6.70. So zooming in onto a 15-minute chart from the daily chart that we were looking at just now, we can see that the runs have been pretty significant, though smaller for each one following the last. The first run pretty much tripled Bbig's stock price. The next one was about half as large as the first one, and then the most recent one, which we just experienced today, is around half of the one we just experienced a few days ago. So if you guys want to use past performance to, maybe make an educated guess where this thing could go, I would let it breathe off a little bit and pull back to some new support levels, and from these new support levels, which would be somewhere around $9.50, which actually would intersect with this 100 moving average right here, I think the next run could be somewhere between 25 and 40% in stock price appreciation. And reaching to that point, we would be somewhere around a $13 to $14 stock price at that point. A structural break would be around $8.70. So if we get a pullback and we close below $8.65 once again, I would consider this thing to keep falling. Breaking below that point, I would consider it falling to retest these levels of support around $7, just because, again, we weren't here for that long. So there's a chance the market might want to come back down here and test this level again and accumulate some more liquidity, which could ultimately help this thing squeeze up harder. It is unlikely for this thing to just fall straight down also, so there's going to be a lot of volatility in both directions. So really, you just got to be smart how you approach this if you guys decide to continue to play in BBIG. So this drawing I made here has been here since the first run down to retest this $7 level, and I was expecting it to stay within this range for a bit longer, but it totally exceeded my expectations and flew past this recent high of around 12 bucks, and it was not able to stay there. So I think the next feasible thing to happen again, guys, is for it to come back down, retest these levels, whether it be 950 or 870, somewhere between these levels. You can't be too greedy. You just got to pick your price point and stick to it. At that point, for the structure to continue, at least on the upside, you would have to see a run to retest these levels and then hopefully close above this $11.70, $11.80 range, because then that would be a first for this stock at any point, and that would be pretty bullish if you can stay above it for quite some time. So BBIG, Vinco Ventures, is not a company that is at all starving financially. They have around $80 million in current assets right now, with their yearly obligation close to $8 million, or actually closer to $9 million. They can sustain themselves for quite a while, but if their stock continues to inflate in price, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe issue some kind of equity offering in the stock just because the stock price is inflated. If they do wait to this point for it to appreciate to around, above $12, $13, this is a good point that they could raise some money just because it wouldn't dilute shareholders quite as much. They have a shelf of around 250 million shares with around 65 million authorized as of this 10Q, which means that they have quite a bit of breathing room when it comes to raising money. So at any point with this stock flying up in price, they could raise money, and that could also bring price down. So do keep that in mind when you are, hoping this stock squeezes to the moon. Right now, the estimated short interest on this stock compared to the float is around 35% of all shares outstanding. Now, out of this 35% short, that's pretty much close to the max amount that is available. The thing that we could look for, though, is the cost to borrow to continue to increase, because if this keeps going up, then eventually it's just going to be not cost effective at all to hold this position, and they will be forced to sell, or forced to cover, I should say. They're forced to buy it back. So I just created this poll recently, not very long ago at all. I've already got around 20 votes on it, with around close to half of you believe this stock is going to around $15 or a little less. I'm on the same boat with you guys. I also expect it to be around these levels, especially considering all the things that we have mentioned in this video. So I would not get too reckless with this stock, guys, even though there is room for it to run up more. Now, if you guys are long on any call options on this stock, you guys have to be very aware of the implied volatility, because that is also going to affect the value of your contracts. If the volatility in BBIG stock starts to dwindle, then the implied volatility on these contracts could fall down, and the next expiration is not that far from now. So that's also something that I'd be considering if you guys are, again, holding those options contracts. Now, if you are invested in BBIG stock, let me know in the comments what your price target is on this stock and where you see it going, at least in the next, couple weeks. Is it $10? Is it $15? $20? Let me know in the comments where you think this is going. Now, anyways, guys, that is it for this video. If you guys liked what you're watching, all I ask is that you hit that like button, and while you're down there, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell notification to get notified when I make videos just like this one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.